Alright, hi everyone, welcome back to another fitness video. This is not going to be a routine, guys. It's not going to be my usual workout videos where I show different sets and different exercises, but it's going to be a kind of informative video because, as you guys know, I'm a physical therapist, and so I want to every now and then incorporate some tips about rehabilitation, or about trying to prevent injuries, or how to overcome or treat if in case you have some pain, maybe you have some discomfort or some of your joints. So yeah, I decided to do this video as an informative video because it's going to be a video where I'm going to show you a stretch for a very overlooked muscle in our legs. That is the rectus femoris. Now, the quad, so the quadricep muscle, is this big muscle in the front part of our leg, is going to be made up of four muscles: the vasti and then the rectus femoris. So there are three vasti: the medial head, the intermediate head, and the lateral head. And then there is the rectus femoris, is going to be instead like in the middle, pretty much, right? So those are the four heads that are going to make up this huge muscle called the quadricep. Now, the three vasti muscle, right, so vastus medialis, intermedius, and lateralis, are only gonna affect the knee. So that means that when they're gonna contract, they're gonna have their action in the knee. And what they're gonna do is gonna be very simply, as I'm gonna demonstrate here, they're gonna extend the knee. So from a flex position, if you contract the quads and your vasti, they're gonna just do this. Alright, that's it. So that's the main function of these three vasti, and they're gonna just extend the knee. And of course, if you are like in a squatting position and you're trying to resist the flexing of the knee because gravity is pulling you down, of course this is an eccentric contraction of the quads, but it's still the quads, that are doing the work as you're going down. So of course, depending on how you move your body in space, you can affect these muscles in different ways. But yeah, the main action is going to be this one. Instead, what happens is that the fourth head, that is the rectus femoris, is going to have a double action. That's why it's called a bi-articular muscle, because it's going to both affect the knee joint, but also the hip joint. So it's just two joints at once. So this muscle, as the vasti, is going to also extend the knee. So also with this muscle, you're going to extend the knee, but with this muscle, you're going to also flex the hip. So this muscle has this double action, both extending the knee, but also flexing the hip. All right, and that's why it's so hard. Like if you're standing, and if you want to do this, so you want to keep your leg up high, and then you want to extend the knee. That's why it's so hard to do it. It's not really made because of the fact that you lack mobility or your hamstrings are tight or all that. It's not really for that reason. It's because of the fact you're just overloading the rectus femoris. And that's why you can feel it like cramping up, and you can feel it like too much stuff, I can handle it. And that's because of the fact you're both doing hip flexion plus knee extension. So this is called an active, I know the term in Italian, it's like an active overload. I don't remember exactly the term in English, but yeah, it's when you, like a biarticular muscle, you do both motions at once. So you like overload it, so it's much harder to do it. Now, how many times when you are told, or maybe you want to stretch your quads, how many times have you done this? Right? This is the most basic and the most common, I would say, quad stretch. When you're just standing, you're grabbing your ankle, and then you're just pulling your heel towards your butt, and you're flexing the knee. So of course, in this way, you're stretching the quad. But what's missing here? The hip extension part. Because yes, of course, you can try to keep and push your hip towards the front, and then you can try to flex the knee. So of course, this is going to affect a bit more the rectus femoris, but just a little bit. Because of the fact that most of the times when you're going to stretch the quads, we're going to just focus on knee flexion. But we're going to forget the fact that we also have to incorporate hip extension to be able to really fully stretch the rectus femoris, right? And the last muscle of the quads. And that's when this exercise comes really very handy, because of the fact that you're going to just need something like a bench, a chair, sofa, bed, anything that you can place your feet on top of. And you're going to place yourself like this, alright? So just placing your foot on top of the chair, bed, anything, bench, anything that is just elevated from the ground. Then what you're going to do is you're going to really put your knee like as close as possible towards the bench. So you want to create this knee flexion position passively. So you don't have to like pull with your hand. You have to pull your leg. You know, you're just gonna have to keep it passively. You're gonna focus instead on the hips, because remember, this is just an exercise, a stretching exercise, especially for the rectus femoris. So once you have achieved the closer position you can, depending on mobility and all that, and the next step is placing your front leg like this, right? So this is like a lunging position. And again, like you want to be as close as possible towards the bench. You don't want to move too away from it. So you're going to keep up tight and you're going to keep close to the bench. And now your whole focus here is putting your hands here and trying to push with your hands towards the front and downwards. So it's like you're trying to do this kind of movement, all right, and downwards. And remember, you don't want to get away from the bench. You want to keep being close. So like your torso have to stay upright, right, as you're trying to just move the hip towards the front. And if you do that, you're going to already feel it right away, an intense stretch in this front area of your hip, going down until the middle part of your leg. And that's exactly the position of the rectus femoris. So that's what you want to do, right? Remember, don't push too hard. You don't have to feel like the muscle is tearing apart. You have to feel you are stretching it gently. So if already in this position, without even moving, you already feel the stretch, that's fine. You don't have to like push, all right? And as your muscle gets used to the position, you can try to start pushing, you know, a little bit the hip towards the front, keeping, you know, your torso upright. Don't lean forward, and you should feel already the stretch right here. And then you just keep the position for around 30 seconds to 1 minute, you know, really feeling the muscle being gently stretched, nothing too hard or too painful. That's not really what stretching is, you know, just very gently. And you just keep the position here, all right, 30 seconds to 1 minute, and then you just relax. And you can just, you know, lean forward, you can do this. So just anything that is gonna just make your muscle relax a bit, and then you can just repeat again. So you can go back to the position and yeah, just repeat it again. So 30 seconds to 1 minute, just focusing here on the hips, you know, moving the hip towards the front, downwards, but keeping your torso upright. And that's it. And of course then you change legs. So I'm gonna just show you here how it looks like from the other side. But yeah, just remember, foot on top of something, all right? Then knee as close as possible towards your foot, and that way you are creating already a knee flexion position passively. You don't have to grab your leg or do anything. And then here, all right, you just stand upright and you try to push your hip towards the front and downwards. Alright, so really your focus here is on moving the hip towards extension. Alright, so that's really the deal. And yeah, don't lean forward. Actually, if you lean backwards, you're gonna feel the stretch even more. And yeah, remember, gently, you don't have to feel pain or like the muscle is tearing apart. Just very, very gently, and hold the position. And yeah, if as you can see, if your knees are uncomfortable, and I just recommend to put like a pillow, to put something soft so that you don't have to feel the hard ground, you know, pushing into your kneecap and just making the position uncomfortable. So you can just put anything beneath your knee to just make the position more comfortable. And yeah, that's it. So that's what I'm doing here. And again, you just keep the position for around 30 seconds to 1 minute. And if you feel already that the muscle is getting used and you don't feel the stretch anymore, you can try to push a bit more, right? You can try to move the hip slightly closer towards the front and towards towards the front and down, right? And as you lean forward. So yeah. So that's the stretch. So this is one of those muscles that we end up stretching a little bit, you know, because if you're just like stretching the quads normally, like the stretch I showed you before, no, it's not like you're not stretching it. You're stretching it, but you're not really completely isolating it. You're not really trying to focus on it. So like, yes, you're stretching it, but not fully. So that's why these positions are super, super good. And that's also good for you to incorporate in your like routines and your daily, you know, stretching, because of the fact that this muscle many times is very tight. We tend to sit a lot of time during the day. We have this flexed hip position, right? And then we do exercises. Maybe you do workout, you stretch maybe your hip flexors, but you don't really target this muscle, because of the fact that if you stretch your hip flexors like this, for example, right? Yes, you're stretching the psoas, but at the same time, you're not really stretching the rectus femoris, because you remember, you need to have also knee flexion to be able to stretch it. So that's why this exercise in this position, you know, should be pretty comfortable, and yeah, you can really target it, and that's gonna, you know, help you to make it more flexible, right? More elastic, so it is gonna cause you less problems. You know, you can remember also you need to strengthen the muscles, not just stretch them. So remember also to strengthen them up in your routines, in your workouts. And yeah, that was the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching and see ya. Bye bye.